how to build an easy villager breeder in Minecraft. These are the resources you will need for this villager breeder. Okay, so before we get started on this, there is one important thing to say, and that is that you will need to build this villager breeder at least about 100 blocks away from any other villagers. Okay, so the first step is to place yourself out a dispenser, then behind the dispenser place yourself out a glass block, then place yourself out a powered rail going out from that dispenser, and then pretty much going backwards from that powered rail place 2 glass blocks. Then from these glass blocks go 1 block down, 1 block to the left, place 2 blocks, then go 1 block to the left, 1 block up, and then place 2 glass blocks. So now we should have a 2x2 area inside here that looks like this. Okay, so now what you will need to do is expand all this by 4 more glass blocks going upwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you should do this on all of these glass blocks, along with that also on top of the dispenser. Okay, after you've done that, you will also need to quickly head behind here and then place a button on top of the dispenser. If you now flick on top of this button, the powered rail should also be turned on. So anyways, after you've done that, head into this room and place yourself out the water source right here. And if you then jump into the water, you should be sent towards the corner that has the dispenser in it. So anyways, after you've done this, you will have to go 3 blocks up and then place yourself out the block. 1, 2, 3. Place yourself out the block right here. So if you jump under here, you should just about have enough space to stand in. So anyways, after you've done that, you will then have to place yourself out 2 trapdoors right here, and you will have to open these. Oh, they will have to be connected to this block, like that. Then after you've done that, you will need to place yourself out 1 composter right here and 1 right here, or any kind of villager workstation. So the next step is of course to get ourselves 2 villagers inside there, but before we do that, the villagers will not be able to pick up these workstations unless we have some beds that the villagers can set their spawn in. So to do that, we're gonna head to this side right here, and then pretty much right here we're gonna build ourselves out 4 blocks going outwards, so 2 blocks going outwards, then place 4 blocks in total. Now we're gonna need to place a minimum of 2 beds on top of here that the main villagers are going to pick. After you've done that, you can now get yourself out 2 villagers inside right here. 1 and then 2, and after a little bit these villagers should pick up the beds along with that the workstations. Okay, so the villagers just about picked up a bed and along with that the workstation, and they've changed into the workstation we have right here, which is a farmer. So now the villagers are pretty much ready to breed. However, for them to breed, there will of course need to be more beds under here that the babies will be able to pick up, because if you don't have beds then they can't really breed. So to do that, you can simply place out some more blocks on the sides right here, expand this by 2 more blocks on the side, then you can simply expand this outwards to have at least a couple more beds on top of here. Now on top of here we will pretty much have a few more beds, but you will only be able to have 6 more baby villagers, and most likely you would want to have a couple more. So to do that, after you have placed out these beds, you can simply destroy out these blocks, and to make sure you have more beds if you want to breed more, simply go 2 blocks under beds, which is right here, build yourself out another platform, pretty much like how I am doing, and then simply just fill up this platform with more beds, then break the blocks we have under here. This should be fairly simple, and you can honestly place the beds pretty much anywhere as long as they are inside the general vicinity, but I like to place them right under here the same way I am doing, simply because it looks a bit nice, but also having the beds close is just generally pretty nice. So now we have even more beds, and I can now destroy this platform. So now we have a bunch of beds right here that the villagers can spawn on, and you can of course continue this downwards, outwards, and make this a lot thicker. So anyways, the next step now is pretty much the last step, and that is to get ourselves some food to these villagers. Now there is pretty much 2 main ways you can dispose food into the villagers for them to breed. One is by manually throwing it into them, or you can make a little hopper clock that will send, well, the food to the villagers every now and then. Now if you want to use a dispenser, simply place yourself some blocks on top of the composters, just so you can place yourself out a dispenser facing downwards towards the villagers, and then you will have to place yourself out the lever on top of here, and you will obviously be flicking this on and off after you place in the food inside the dispenser. Now to quickly say, I did not include this dispenser or this lever in the beginning for the material list, because you simply don't need this unless you want it. So if you want to use this dispenser, you can simply fill it up with carrots or whatever crops you want, and then start hitting this lever to feed the villagers. Now if you want to feed them manually, you can also break out one of these glass blocks after you place this on top to make sure they don't go out, and then you can of course just drop the crops to them manually. Oh, pretty much like this, and they will pick it up as long as you drop them in the general area. You can block this off again, and now any minute whenever the villagers have started dropping the crops to each other, they should start breeding, as they are. Okay, so now they're breeding, and pretty much the fully last step is to place yourself out some minecarts inside this dispenser. Okay, so now the first baby villager has dropped in, and they will continue breeding because we gave them quite a lot of crops. You might see some hearts, they will probably pop up soon, but to show you how we would get the villager out, simply wait for the villager to be in the corner at the bottom, place this button, and now the villager will be sent out in a minecart. Now one quick thing to be careful about this is that if this room is filled up with a ton of villagers like you saw in the intro, zombies can actually jump to the side right here and end up hitting the villagers that are inside. So to fix that, you can simply place yourself out some blocks right here, but I would also recommend you place blocks right here simply because it looks nice, but primarily to prevent zombies from hitting your villagers. Okay, so 2 more baby villagers has been, well, bred up, and they are down here right now, and we have a 3rd one right here. So this breeds fairly quickly, and it's breeding again, so as long as you have enough beds right here and enough food for the villagers, they will continue breeding. So yeah, anyways, that is it for this one, and that is how you build a super easy villager breeder. So anyways, that is it for this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.